even in the darkest moments, the bravery of a few can save many. That's incredibly profound, right? Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty heavy. We're looking at a deeply tragic event, but one that is absolutely defined by awe-inspiring courage. We're going to see how literally in the dead center of unimaginable darkness, incredible human bravery and community solidarity just emerged. It's a tough topic for sure, but an absolutely crucial one for us to understand factually.
So let's get right into it. Tragedy to resilience, the San Diego Mosque shooting. We're going to break down the timeline of events, unpack what investigators found, and, maybe most importantly, look at exactly how a community navigated the aftermath. Part 1. Tragedy at the Mosque, May 19th, 2026. To really grasp the scale of the resilience that came later, we've got to look squarely at the stark facts of what actually happened. On May 19th, 2026, a deadly shooting occurred at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Now, this is one of the largest mosques in the area. The immediate aftermath, it was just devastating. 3 innocent people tragically lost their lives. And by the conclusion of the attack later that day, the 2 teenage attackers were found dead nearby. These are the severe, undeniable facts, a sudden, violent disruption of peace in a place of worship.
Moving on to heroes of the incident, bravery under fire.
Right in the middle of this unthinkable tragedy, we saw acts of just incredible courage. Amin Abdullah, Mansour Kaziha, Nadir Awad. These are the 3 innocent people who lost their lives that day. But, it's really how they spent their final moments that defines their legacy. The police and the surviving community remember them not just as victims, but as absolute heroes.
Take Amin Abdullah, for example. He was working as a security guard at the mosque. When he saw the threat, he didn't freeze. He acted immediately. Without a single moment of hesitation, he stepped directly into harm's way to stop the attackers. He literally put himself between the danger and the congregation to protect others. It's that kind of profound selflessness that's almost hard to wrap your head around until you hear it laid out as a matter of historical record.
And that exact same selflessness extended to Mansour Kaziha and Nadir Awad during all that chaos. First, they identified the immediate threat. But here's the thing. Instead of taking cover, they intentionally worked to draw the shooters away from the mosque. They led the attackers out toward the parking lot to prevent further loss of life. In a moment of absolute panic, they used clear, tactical logic to pull the danger away from a vulnerable crowd. They saved countless lives doing that.
Which brings us to the extremist motives, investigating the attackers.
To truly understand the weight of that immense sacrifice, we also have to look at the difficult, objective evidence regarding the perpetrators. Authorities confirmed that the attackers were 2 teenagers. As we touched on earlier, they were later found dead nearby from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Now, that was the end of their physical involvement, but really, it was just the beginning of the investigation into why this even happened in the first place. Investigators recovered a deeply troubling trail of evidence. We're talking weapons, written materials, and a massive digital footprint. And when they analyzed all of this, the evidence pointed straight to a mix of extremist ideologies, specifically racism, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism. Uncovering these kinds of hateful indicators, especially among 2 teenagers, has raised some very serious, widespread concerns about youth radicalization and how quickly hate can spread.
But let's look at a community united, rising above fear.
The story absolutely doesn't end with those extremist motives, right? It ends with how the community responded. And wow, it was a powerful rejection of everything the attackers stood for. An interfaith vigil was held to honor the victims. You had individuals from entirely different faiths and backgrounds gathering together to mourn, to pray, and just stand in unity. Community leaders didn't hold back. They strongly condemned the hate and actively called for action against this rising intolerance. They basically turned a statistic of tragedy into a profound story of human solidarity. And this response highlighted such a brilliant contrast. Now, what's really interesting here is that leaders emphasized that this kind of violence, it doesn't just happen in isolation. It's fueled by harmful rhetoric and deep division. But the antidote to all that fragility is exactly what San Diego showed the world, a community united by compassion, understanding, and strength. It's a pretty stark comparison, honestly, between the fragility of hate and the enduring power of a community that simply chooses to come together. Which brings us right back to our overarching theme today. This event is definitely a painful reminder of the dangers of hate, but equally, it's a reminder of the sheer importance of unity.
As it was so powerfully stated in the aftermath, the strength of a community can rise above fear. We saw that. The bravery of the fallen heroes proved it in the exact moment of the attack, and the interfaith vigil proved it in the days that followed. So, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. How can our own communities continue to stand together against rising intolerance and hate? These lessons of unity, of spotting harmful rhetoric before it turns into violence, and of awe-inspiring heroism, they aren't just historical facts for us to file away. They're a blueprint. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really encourage you to keep this question in the back of your mind as you step out into your own communities today.